Oops. I just pinged everybody. Oh well. I need to update that, don't I? So hey guys, how's it going? I've been working on Unity now for a couple of weeks. A long dormant amount of time not actually working with Unity, but I've learned quite a lot in the meantime. I mean, I tell you what, this has been really, really fun. And so I kind of want to show you what I've been working on. And this one is the all new Tailor shop. And it's kind of getting there. It's not quite done yet, but I kind of want to show you what I've been working on. So we go inside the tailor shop, and I need to modify a few things because the world's not exactly the way we want it to be. But at the very least, you can kind of see an overview of the entire town. Like this is WaterWolf in its prime stage, and I honestly couldn't have achieved this all on my own. I had a lot of people around me who were like, "You should totally do this," and I'd help. And I'll be honest, I've been learning a whole heck of a lot of cool stuff. It's been a lot of fun. So I started from knowing absolutely nothing about how to make a world to now getting better step by step, and we were learning it one step at a time. We started out with a very flat map, very boring, very centric, nothing really going on, to the point where we now have assets, models, and even little places to start doing something. And I'm finding out the amount of effort it takes to make a world. And it's a lot, but that's okay. That's okay. The effort is actually fun. I'm enjoying myself. I really am enjoying the creative process here of making this. And I've been playing a lot of some other VR games. There's a couple of them that are really complicated, like the ship game that is out that requires 5 crewmates to get together and play basically an intergalactic space game where you're fighting ships and teleporting into different areas of space, and it makes me realize, wow, Unity is very powerful. It can do a lot, like an absolute monster amount of things. And so, if I can have games like that, there's no reason we can't have a world where we all can have individual homes and houses in a small town. So, well, this is WaterWolf, and it's been a lot of fun putting assets together, learning how it all works, and playing with things and building buildings. Now, we first started out with this concept of the bar, and I'll show you here what I've done here. So if we if we pop the top off, this is a prefabricated building, but if we take the roof off of it, we come to find out that it's really just a box, and there's not much to it. It's just a box. It's really ugly and mismatched and not placed well, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're off a line of the grid. No, this is not your fault, Will. This is just kind of what we've done and decided to do. The grid tends to make things a little hard to snap to, so I kind of have to use my eyeball to make things work. And I'll be honest, I'm not great at it. At least I wasn't great at it until I discovered ProBuilder. And ProBuilder is amazing because you have these systems where you can use ProBuilder, and ProBuilder lets me create different shapes and snaps and basically cuts and extrudes. It's a lot of fun to play with. I'll show you that in another video, but for right now, let's just stick to the WaterWolf concept. And for looking at it from the 10,000, you know, the 50,000 foot approach, as they say, this world is actually pretty simple. There is 2 prefabricated pool tables here that are all bonded together as one centric prefab. Someone sat down and spent a lot of time on this pool table. It's amazing. But you can also separate things such as the panel in the back here that allows the information to spit out raw data if the system's okay or not. As for my perception of it, all I have to do is plunk in this asset and make sure that the right scripting tables are installed and the right dependencies are there. You wouldn't believe how easy the pool table was in the sense of getting it working, but that was because I had trouble with the markers. At first I thought, oh my gosh, I broke the world, but then I learned that these markers have UDON dependencies, and if you don't have those dependencies in place, then you're going to have a bad time. So you got to make sure you install all of your dependencies, and if there is any type of documentation for any type of plugin that Unity has, read it. Absolutely read it. it may make no sense, but then you find out the gems of the information, such as this plugin requires this plugin to work, or this has a dependency on that. And Unity does a really good job of showing you what the problems are, so that way you can burn through them and fix them one at a time. I'm learning that lighting and shadowing and processing are really important when it comes to making an efficient world. Like if you want to get really crazy, you have to not bury your world in assets because everything gets packaged, used it or not. And I'm also learning that mirrors, when you add mirrors to a world, you add a lot of processing dependencies, so the efficiency of your world goes down the minute you put a mirror down, which explains why we have button toggles for all the mirrors. And it also explains that where if you have a toggle of mirroring in the room, you can only have like the left mirror, the right mirror, the top mirror, the bottom mirror. Sometimes people have, in certain worlds, there's mirrors all over the bed, but you can only activate one at a time. And that's to create kind of paradoxical equations to where mirror A is bouncing off of mirror B, and that would create a programmatic infinity loop, which would crash the world, which is silly, but it makes sense programmatically. So there's that. And then, of course, everyone's like, hey, this avatar is broken. Like we perceive an avatar here, and that's because underneath there's this asset. But what I need to do with this asset, I've learned, is I just need to rotate it so it doesn't look so silly. But at the same time, I really need to get rid of it, because if I go near this, or anybody with an Oculus goes near it, it drops their frame rate. And we're learning that frame rate is everything in the Oculus world. Because what happens with Oculus is actually quite interesting. Now, I'm going to show you something, and don't panic. There's a lot of vomit. This is the VR SDK. And right now it's in Android mode. But that's okay, because Android mode has a lot of these optimization problems. And I'm very well, the video player is not correct. I'm actually going to delete that anyway. But you render it first for Windows. You click build target. And then you render it again for Android. Android being the Oculus. So that's how that works in a nutshell, and it's quite an interesting monster, to say the least. So with that being said, okay, so here we are at the spawn point, and let's go back to the tailor shop. That I basically sat down with the Pro Builder and put this down piece by piece, slicing up the cube into a bunch of pieces. And I think I'm getting better at this, but at the same time, I'm also not perfect on the edges, and it bugs me that I'm not perfect at this, but I'm learning. So this is kind of a project where I learn something, and then the world gets better and better and better and better and better. And also, VR chat does a really good thing too, is VR chat is constantly making the products better. Like this is the V3 SDK with the dynamic bones and fuzziness about things, which is really, really cool. I really like it. And another thing I want to point out here in this live stream is that we have a domain as well. And I want to show it to you because it's very straightforward, very simple, and it shows that we just want you to come to the world. So we have a join the world button, which if you click it, it'll open up VR chat, and it will bring in the world. So you can just launch the world and go straight into it. But then we also have our Discord link as well, because we actually have a public Discord for this. We're really hoping that this turns into a city, and then we can have a city hall webpage and everything, and confuse the living hell out of the internet thinking that this is a real city somewhere. But in reality, it's a VR chat. We're going to have an entire lore, an entire RP system. We have incredible organizers who are getting us together and making a really, really cool city. And I feel like it's a unique experience, and my optimism, I hope, will bleed into other people to join us. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they won't. But at the same time, I'm quite enjoying myself learning how to use this software because the Unity engine is really powerful. It started out as a simple, like, mobile phone arcade engine, but it is growing into something amazing. In fact, let's just assume that if they keep going at this rate, more and more people will be able to use Unity. It's like a practical engine. It's done really well. And even like right now, I'm using Unity in VR chat, rendering a camera service that allows me to project my VR character straight into the video of the YouTube video, and then transparently layer that over my desktop screen. I mean, hell, think about how cool that is. That's really, really cool. So that's basically the video in a nutshell. Is I've been poking at Unity and I've been really enjoying myself and hanging out with some really great people who are nothing but kind and are always there, always supportive, and always constantly worried about everyone else's happiness. And it's a really wonderful experience. I got to tell you, it's a breath of fresh air. So that's what has motivated me immensely, immensely. Like to the point where I am just happy every day that I get to work on something like this and I get to poke at this type of software and have a lot of fun doing it. It's just great. I love it. So I'm gonna end the stream, and I'm sorry for the people who I pinged in the Discord at this hour of the night. I'm going to remove it. Don't hate me for it. Have a good night, you guys. And on that note, I'm going to end this stream because it's getting late, and it's probably a very good idea that I go to bed. Yeah, I look at the clock and go, oh shit. Probably a good idea to go to bed. Toodles! I'll see you.